Hello and welcome to episode 141 of the Perth to Paisley podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club. The Jambos have recorded back-to-back away victories in two separate competitions. What on earth is going on? And joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the latest, which was a win in Dingwall at the weekend, is Daniel McIver. What's happening, McIver?
All right, it's a very rare occasion what we're going to be talking about this week. But yes, doing well. I'm on holiday this week, so it's just all going good. Hearts set me up perfectly. Hearts, Newcastle, everybody's winning, and it's just going great. How are you?
That's good, mate. That's what it's all about. I'm all right. Yeah, not bad. Obviously, the last time that we recorded, we had no idea who awaited us at Hampden Park in the Viaplay Cup semi-finals, so that was a bit of a bitter blow. But yeah, nice to bounce back at the weekend with the win and just overlook the fact that our League Cup dreams may be in tatters for yet another year. Shall we start? Shall we start with that? Actually,
yes,
before we get into going around the grounds and the Ross County game, like I say, we had no idea the night last Tuesday night.
Yeah.
No. Last Tuesday night we had the Kelly game.
Yes.
Sorry. Last Wednesday was the draw.
It's been too long. I can't even remember what happened.
It actually feels like a lifetime ago.
I know.
It really does. The last Wednesday night, the other three quarter-final ties were all being played. And Rangers, Aberdeen and Hibernian all made it through, which set up the final four to be both Edinburgh clubs, Aberdeen and Rangers, of course. Michael Beale was still in a job. We were first out the hat in the big semi-final draw. Everybody adamant that we'd face Hibs, such as I ran the poll on Twitter. The vast majority deemed that we would play Hibernian. It wasn't to be the case. It was instead the overwhelming favourites to lift this competition, Rangers at the National Stadium, as Hibernian take on Aberdeen in the other semi-final tie. Thoughts?
Well, we're going to have to wait another year. Hooray! Especially because, as you alluded to there, at this point, Michael Beale was still in the job. He's not anymore. And if you listen to what people are saying, it could be Frank Lampard taking the Rangers hot seat. He will beat us. He'll be a terrible appointment long-term for Rangers, because obviously he will, but he'll still beat us at Hampden. There's just no two ways about it. Of course, we get the guy who's coming in, so wants to make a good impression, big momentum building win for him, and that's just what will happen. I don't think we had a chance anyway, because I just never think we have a chance against either of them in any game. But yeah.
I kind of did under Beale. I don't know. I'd rather face them in a semi-final than a final.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's probably fair.
In the final, you play either Hibs, scary thought, or Aberdeen, which would be an interesting one.
I will be honest, right? I think, as I say, I don't think we have much of a chance, but I am glad it's not Hibs. I can't take playing Hibs at Hampden again. And I know, before people message in, going, but we beat them every time. But that has to end at some point. And I just would rather we never play them again, so that's how it ends. Because we just never get
the possibility of ending.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, all right, okay. On one hand, hooray, we don't have Hibs. But on the other hand, oh, for fuck's sake, that's it. We're not getting to the final.
It's mad that if Frank Lampard was to get that job, he's only really 3 hours away from another trophy, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And that would equate to the exact amount that Steven Gerrard won at Rangers.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely wild.
I would probably, though, won a trophy that is a lot less significant for Rangers than Gerrard won.
It is, but if you think of how long Gerrard was there...
Yeah, but it's still physically the amount. And a lot of that was because of us, because we kept knocking them out of cups. Fuck you, Stevie G.
That's true. Nice. Well put. Let's go around the grounds before we get into chatting about our wonderful weekend win. So, the other 5 matches all took place on the Saturday in the Singe. The first of which was at Fir Park. And Celtic left it late to take the lead at Fir Park. Motherwell left it even later to equalise. And then the league leaders left it even later again to reclaim the lead and eventually walk away with 3 points. Ahead of the Derby, Hibs were held at home in a goalless draw to Dundee. That was the first of the 3 o'clock games. 1-1 was the scoreline at both Rugby Park and McDermott Park. Obviously, winning at Rugby Park isn't for everyone, but the Buddies did eventually bounce back for a point in Ayrshire. Share the spoils at McDermott Park as St Johnstone took the lead against Livy before the Lions grabbed a point in Perth. However, the headlines broke as the Michael Beale era at Ibrox is over after the Gers were defeated by Aberdeen 3-1 at Ibrox. Like I say, who appear to have just turned their season around all of a sudden. It's actually remarkable. Aberdeen, hopefully that keeps Barry Robson in the job for a wee bit longer. But yes, Rangers are on the lookout for another manager. I mean, we've touched on it. You believe that it will be Lampard?
No, I don't think it will. But if
I think
it
it'll
is,
be Muscat, but I've got a hunch that Lampard could be in serious contention.
I think he probably is by the way that everyone's talking about it. I think Muscat would be a good appointment for Rangers. I think Lampard would be a terrible one because I think he's like, I know some people are like, oh, well, there are signs that he's good. I just think he's never shown anything. I think the Derby thing is massively overblown. I think he was helped out a lot by like Mason Mount just doing really
Kyle
well on loan.
Yeah,
he just basically had a bunch of Chelsea players on loan that really helped him. And then he was terrible at Chelsea. He was even worse at Everton. And just, I don't think he's cut out
why
for
he
management
took that
at all.
Everton job on?
I've no idea.
No, they're
But
just a poison chalice, that club.
on that, why would he take the Everton job? I don't know why he take the Rangers job other than arrogance, which is like, you need that in a manager. You need a manager to be like, I can go in and sort anything. That's the point. But it would be a terrible move for him personally, I think, because I think if he failed at Rangers, that would be it. He has no chance of getting anything ever again. But I hope it's him, just because it would be funny.
100%.
I need him up here, just getting wound up by everybody, because I think it was...
Imagine Chris Sutton winding up Frank Lampard on a weekly basis.
I think it was Evan McFarlane on Twitter was saying that Lampard now doesn't even have the aura of Lampard now, because like previously it was like, oh, well, it's Frank Lampard coming in to do it.
Because Gerrard was an unknown, but he still arrived as Steven Gerrard.
Now it's Frank Lampard, the failed manager, coming in for a thing. So I hope that is that. But the Aberdeen thing was just mental.
What did you make of the other fixtures? Sorry, I meant to ask you.
The Celtic thing, I think I'd just give up football if I was a Motherwell fan at that point. Like
I've spoken to a couple of Motherwell fans, and they are on the verge, I think, of just I don't even know what to say. Like, what, you'd just be devastated, beyond belief.
Yeah, totally. I think the wheels at Kilmarnock are kind of starting to fall off a wee bit now, but obviously that's still a good weirdly, it's still a good result because it is against a very good St Mirren team. The own goal is hilarious.
Oh, what a finish it is from Kyle McGuinness as well.
Exactly. So fair play to him for that. The St Johnstone game, I don't know if St Johnstone are actually sorting themselves out. I don't think they are, but like they kind of seem that like I thought they would just be getting battered every single week at this point, but they're not. They're kind of staying in games and picking up a point here and there.
I know what you mean. It's like they're giving themselves a chance, but I don't really believe that they have a chance.
Yeah, I still think they'll finish bottom. Livingston, I think, are destined for a fight now in the bottom three.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, actually. Like, I slated their top flight states in the past, but there is something quite nice about seeing an underdog just, I don't know, just consolidate and continue to defy the odds.
I know that Martindale often says he's like, my target is 10th because my target is staying in the division without any worries, kind of thing. So,
well, it's continuing to try and punt Joel Newbley, but
basically, aye. So you'd hope that that's how the Livingston board view him in terms of. I hope like he'll be hoping that as well. That as long as Livingston stay up, then it's a successful season. But I don't know if that's now changed because they've consolidated themselves as a top flight team, where it's like, well, we want to show a bit more ambition than just staying in the league.
Yeah, I mean they've been on the top six, on the verge of the top six a couple of times, haven't they? And it's
Yeah,
just fallen through at the very last minute. So that must kill you. And then I don't know, if you've made kind of assurances or promises to players, do they then look at it and think, yeah, well, we came close and we didn't achieve it, so I'm
yeah.
off.
It is interesting. And then finally, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be too worried if I was a Hibs fan after the weekend. I know on the face of it, you look at it going, well, we've drawn at home 0-0 to Dundee, but by all accounts, they were incredibly dominant, and it was one of those games where Carson just had a world day and was
He's a
making
good
saves that
goalie,
he
Trevor
he is
Carson.
he
I've
is a
always
good
liked
goalie.
him. He is a good
Um,
goalkeeper.
but I think it is one of those times where 9 out of 10 times they win that game
Yeah.
reasonably comfortably. Dundee, I don't know what to feel about them this season at all. I really don't.
I think with Livy and St Johnstone in the league, they've certainly got a chance of staying up.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's expectations are really beyond that. I feel like Dundee are always kind of, I don't know, they sort of get ahead of themselves and believe that they should be a top tier club, whereas contrary to kind of what we've said about Livingston, it doesn't always work like that. So
yeah,
I think staying up in the first season is a success, and then you look to kind of build upon that next year. I don't know.
definitely.
But thankfully, we're not here to talk about Dundee or Livingston or St Johnstone or any of the other jobbers in this league.
That's not true. We will be speaking about one of them because I think teams like Livingston and Dundee will be delighted that Ross County are in this division this season.
Thankfully, we took care of Ross County at the weekend. Hearts made two changes from their midweek match, the win in the Viaplay Cup against Kilmarnock. Cammy Devlin and Alan Forrest made way for Odell Ofaya and Aidan Denham. It meant that Hearts lined up. We sort of discussed this pre-pod in
Yeah,
a 3-5-2
roughly.
or 5-3-2,
Yeah.
we think.
And sometimes in transition, it was a 4-2-4 as well, but just predominantly a 3-5-2.
The 11 players chosen to start for
Yeah.
Hearts were Xander Clark in goal, Toby Civic, Frankie Kent, and Kai Rolls looked to make up a back three, sort of as we
Yep.
saw toward the latter stages at Rugby Park. Adele Fire was therefore at right wing back, with Stephen Kingsley at left wing back. In the midfield was Callum Neuenhoff, George Grant, and Aidan Denham, with Kenneth Vargas and Lauren Shankland in attack. When you saw that random array of names, McIver, were you just as confused as I was?
I'll give myself praise here. I looked at that and went, I think that's a 3-5-2. Purely
Nice.
because I went, I think we're just doing what we did for the last 10 minutes against Kilmarnock, but from the start. If we hadn't played that game in Kilmarnock, I wouldn't have had any idea what the team was. But because like Ofaya was in from the start, I was like, all right, okay, well, he played right wing back for the last 10 minutes against Killy. That's a natural back five there with the players that we have available. And then Denham is just a straight swap for Devlin, etc., etc., etc. But I was happy with it. There's this discussion that's kind of happening on Hearts Twitter about Boyce and Shankland, and should they both be starting together? Does it work? Does it not? I think for me, when he's fully fit, Boyce is in the starting 11.
Yeah.
But as we saw against Kilmarnock, as we saw against Ross County, he's a very good player to have come off the bench. Just like to have that quality, not being your starting 11 and come on with 20 minutes left when everyone else is tired, is really, really helpful.
It would be kind of derogatory to label him as just an impact sub, because he is a much better
Yeah,
player
because
than
he's
that.
way more than that.
But it is nice to have that impact off the bench. It's cards on the table time from me. Obviously, I wasn't in attendance at Dingwall at the weekend. I had planned on watching the Hearts TV highlights and taking notes for the podcast as we do, and was left disappointed a few hours ago when I saw that Hearts TV hadn't uploaded a
What is
highlights
happening?
package.
That's 2 games now where they've just not done
I don't
anything.
know what's going on. Is it because Jalen Films is away?
I don't know.
Jordan. Can we have a moment of silence actually for Jordan departing Hearts?
Very fair. Shocking.
Devastating.
Yeah.
But whoever takes that gig, get the fingers out with the highlights, please. Thanks. So I've had to go off sports scene highlights. Make of that what you will. It's a program that I would absolutely never criticise.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely not. And the BBC deemed our first highlight to be on 25 minutes as our first real chance of note came then. Ian Denham looked to punish a slack Jack Baldwin pass. Connor Randall, the former Jambo, remember him? Can't quite get there.
Annoyingly, yes, I do.
Our teenage talent robs him of the ball. Has a few players inside him, the likes of Lauren Shanklin, George Grant, looking to get in behind, but opts to take a shot, and it smashes over the county crossbar, hits the top of the stand, and comes down. Lauren Shanklin was very angry. George Grant was pretty angry. Were you pretty angry?
Yes, I was. I was pretty angry. Listen, I am delighted that Aidan Denham has signed an extension, 3-year deal. It's just a mental situation for him. Like being told he's going to be released to now being, he said in the press conference, for the first time in his life, he's playing knowing that there's no chance that he's just going to be leaving at the end of the season. I will say also, I've said it a couple of times, the way Denham speaks is incredible. He speaks like he's been in this team for 10 years, not that he's just making his first few appearances in it. But putting all that aside, I thought he was probably our poorest player in the starting 11. I do caveat that with the fact that he was clearly being told to play in a way that he's never done before. So Denham often is like not even the Devlin in terms of energy. He's often been like the Benny, where he'll just get it at the base of the midfield and then push forward. And that's what he's clearly very good at. Naismith, however, clearly said to him, right, I need you creating in the final third. So he was the one receiving it. It happened a few times in the first half. He was the one receiving it almost in the box or on the edge of the box and had to find that final pass, final touch, final shot, as we see here. And it just never really clicked. So, whilst I say, in my opinion, he was the weakest player, I'm not really bothered because I thought it was a really good learning experience for him. This, however, is a learning experience of you don't take that shot when you're in that position with the people that are ahead of you that you have.
With two better options. Is it because we were all so confused by the shape that he and Neuenhoff are arguably the sitters and Grant should be the 10? It just, I don't know. Because I agree with you. It's like Hearts are so desperate to fill the number 10 position that we've gone, George Grant has been good recently. He's not really shown it up to now. What happens if he goes back to that previous vein of form? We'll just stick another one in there so that Aidan Denham can move up and we can maybe take George Grant off to bring on a Benny Beringame or whoever in the latter stages of the game. I don't know. It just, again, like we've not played this system before as well. So I think that does play a part of it, really.
Yeah, at least we've not played it under Naismith with the instructions that Naismith will have.
Yes. But I spoke about George Grant just there after much criticism from me. Shut me up by scoring an opener at Kilmarnock, close to doing so again on 29 minutes. Callum Neuenhoff takes his time, lobs a ball through at the Englishman, eventually takes a wee deflection en route there, but his effort is eventually saved by Ross Laidlaw down to the goalkeeper's right-hand side. Are we beginning to see flashes from George Grant? More flashes than we had seen previously? It feels like he's really coming on to a game.
Yeah, at least I hope so. I felt Grant kind of summarised our entire first half performance that consistently he was quite good, but it was just in the final moment he let himself down, which, as I say, was very much that first half. I thought we just seemed like it was a home game, which for us away from home is a genuine
miracle.
Yeah, you just never see that ever. It doesn't matter who it could be against East Fife, and it could still be a struggle for us at times if we're away from home. But fair play to them. I just felt it was so easy, to be perfectly blunt. We just were allowed to do whatever you want. And I know we've seen in times like, for example, the Motherwell game at home, Motherwell allowed us to do whatever we wanted because they knew we weren't going to do anything. So we had loads of possession, and that's been the criticism, loads of possession for possession's sake. Whereas here, we had similar levels of possession, but we're always doing something with it. And I spoke about him last week, I spoke about him the week before. Neuenhoff was my man in the match, and he didn't really do anything for the rest of the game in terms of highlights to goals or anything like that. So I'll mention them now. He just seems like that missing link that wanted in terms of just a player who will be like, do you want me to play it backwards? I can do that, no problem. I can play it side to side. I can play it forward. I can find a ball in the channel. His range of passing is so great to see. And yes, listen, he's not at the height of his powers yet. He's still coming back from a calf
No
injury.
way.
He's still...
He's only 22 as well, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. I understand when some people are being like, no, look, he's been fine. We're quick to praise, too often quick to criticize as well. And that is totally fair. But just from my perspective, all I've seen from Callum Nieuwenhof is great things. He's exactly the type of player I like. And I feel like his calmness, which is like peak 2018 Haring, is allowing other players to play with confidence because they don't need to worry about behind them, which I think then helps Grant, who's like, oh shit, I don't need to worry about misplacing a pass because Nieuwenhof's there to just clean it up. So it means that Grant will take more risks, get into better positions, and be more creative.
It is funny that, isn't it? Like the fact that professional footballers still need assurances by their teammates.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you get to such a level whereby you obviously must feel confident enough in your own ability? Are you not confident in others' abilities, but you want a particular teammate beside you? I find it so strange that
it's just that human
partnerships
nature
can
thing.
develop sometimes and others not work out. I don't know.
It's that human nature thing of you bet on yourself, can you trust the others alongside you? And when you learn that you can, if those others aren't there, you start to then doubt yourself.
And all works in tandem. And
yeah, absolutely. So that's what you hope with Nieuwenhof starting to be more regular in the team. Obviously, Devlin was out with a head knock, but Naismith then confirmed after the game he'll be back for Saturday. That we start to see those partnerships developing. I think I'll raise it at the end of the game because it's more a point at the end of the game, but defensive partnerships are starting to build now, which is great to see. And just you hope that starts to continue all the way through the team.
Excuse me, sorry. I know, definitely. I think you like your stats. Yes. I want to talk about Lauren Shankland's chance on the verge of half time. But in that first half, Hearts had 64% possession, had an expected goals of 0.37 in comparison to County's 0.02, 7 shots, albeit I'm not sure how many on target. These stats are courtesy of the Maroon Report. So the Maroon Report. So thank you very much for that. And thank you for the additional shots on target. 241 accurate passes and 81% pass completion, albeit 3 fouls committed, no offsides, no corners. So it did appear as though it was possession with a purpose. It was like you say, just that final ball, not too many clear-cut chances created.
Yeah, 0.3 XG for that amount of possession of shots is not great, but it does tell the story that we all felt.
Definitely. That being said, on the verge of halftime, probably our best chance of the half, actually, there would be one final chance. Frankie Kent, the aforementioned Denham, Stephen Kingsley, all linking up. The left-back finds George Grant on the edge of the area. He centres for Shankland, who swivels, bends a left-footed effort narrowly over the bar. And he just needs a goal, Lawrence Shankland, doesn't he? He's proving quite a divisive figure amongst the fans, which is remarkable given what he did last season.
So I watched this live on Hearts TV, and it was Laurie and Joe Sked, and Joe mentioned the fact that this is currently the longest drought he's had in his Hearts career. Ahead of the game, it was 6 games without a goal. Now it's 7.
Wow.
And I mean, that in itself is miraculous considering most of the strikers we've had score 1 every 7. So it shows how good he was, at least last season. I think a conversation needs to be had about Shankland in as much as you can't drop him. Like, you can't, because he's that good at just getting something out of nowhere. But the problem is you kind of have what's happened in the last few games where I feel like I don't think we were particularly amazing against Killie, but I thought we were the better team. I thought we were pretty good against Ross County. But in both games, I feel like Shankland's been one of the weaker players. In as much as just, I don't think he's done much wrong. I just don't think he's done anything.
Yeah, the game's just passed him by.
Yeah, like, for example, we'd have times last season where he might not score in a game, but he'd be holding the ball up, he'd be bringing others into play, he'd be linking up well, and you'd be like, I don't care that he's not scored. He's been absolutely crucial to the team in the way he's playing.
Yeah,
But
he's like played a helping hand
yeah,
in the team's victory in one
totally.
way or another.
The problem has been the last, for example, just 2 games, is that he's not really been involved at all. I know that he got an assist against Kelly, and that's what I mean. It's like he didn't really do anything all game except contribute to one of the goals that got us the win. So then it's like you can't just go, oh well, right, I'm going to have to take him off then because he's not doing enough overall. It's like, well, no, I'm kind of like as this I know you're saying there's some division, and I have seen that as well. Just now, I'm still in that period where I'm like, of course he has to start. Like you can't drop him.
I'm not
at
for
all.
1 minute suggesting that he'd be dropped or nothing like that.
But I've seen some people start to suggest that, and I'm a bit worried, being like, no, we can't do that.
The other kind of debate that's emerged, and of course Scotland will be on international duty after the Derby, is what happens when Craig Gordon comes back into the fold. Because does he then, like, obviously both Craig and Lawrence will hope to be involved in the Scotland squad, but from a Hearts perspective, does Gordon come back in and immediately take the armband? Does Shankland hold on to it despite Gordon coming back?
I just think you're both adults. Gordon's the club captain. It shouldn't create any problem. It should have been told to Shankland right at the start, right, we're going to give you the captaincy, but as soon as Craig's back in the lineup, he's captain.
I mean, is Lawrence Shankland has been named as our vice captain, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So, needless to say, that should only really...
I also think people put way too much emphasis into a captain's armband in 2023.
Interesting.
I think it's completely irrelevant now. I think back in the day, it used to be quite important, like, oh, who's captain? But, like, for example, Frankie Kent's been as vocal as Shankland on the park, has been marshalling everybody into doing what they're doing. No one would go, oh, well, Frankie, you're not the captain. Don't talk to other people. That should be left to Shankland to deal with it. It's like, no, they're all... Now in the modern game, you see the amount of people who are just like... There's like what's it called? Like the leadership team within the squad.
Leadership circles and
all this. Exactly. Yeah. Like, look at FM's squad hierarchy and stuff like that, right? And I think it's more just now a way more communal effort.
Oh,
but everybody...
And FM's not released for another month, but you somehow managed to just get that in there.
Very desperate for it. And I think the captaincy is now one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, who's allowed to speak to the ref, for example, because obviously only the captain is.
I just look at the top 2 teams in our league, right? And I know it's daft, and maybe it's because I'm consuming too much of the West Coast radio. Maybe it is. I'll admit that. But you look at Celtic, Callum McGregor is the absolute heartbeat of that team. You look at Rangers, and James Tavernier is the scapegoat for everything that goes wrong. And both of those hold the captain's armband. I don't know. I do feel as though there is... I don't know, maybe it's just an unfair accountability, or...
Yeah, I think fans...
I can't quite put my finger on it.
I think fans and media read way too much into it. If McGregor's playing well, it's like, look, this is what a captain does. He's amazing. But at the same time, with Tavernier, yeah, he is absolute scapegoat, but oftentimes he's the guy getting the goal or getting them back in it. No one goes, oh, well, he's not a captain, though. He's doing all this kind of part. It's like, I just think it's way too...
I still think they do, but...
It's read way too much into it, in my opinion. So that's why I'm like, I don't care who has the armband. I'm like, just sort it out yourselves and whoever it is when they come out.
Nice. Maybe we should release like a clip of this and we can leave the poll. Would you give it to Gordon? Would you give it to Shankland? Or let us know in the YouTube comments. Do whatever you like. It's a free country. You do what you want. But half time, 0-0. Yet to find a breakthrough. Hopefully we can make our pressure and persistence pay off. But it was actually the hosts that looked the more likely at the start of the second half. Jan Danda's corner deflected towards his own goal by Stephen Kingsley. Simon Murray puts pressure on Xander Clark, who can only punch clear, but thankfully the ref blows for a foul. I've spoke about Craig Gordon coming back in. It's for little instances like this that I just think Clark is just not at that same level. He's a decent shot stopper. would have been absolutely done had he not signed. That is
Yeah.
fair to say. And he has stood in really well, but he's just not Craig Gordon, is he?
Yeah, and it's like, how unfair is that comparing them to the greatest goalkeeper we've ever seen and like one of the best players' hearts have ever produced a club? But that's what the situation we're in. It's like, yeah, sorry,
that's where
Xander.
Football's so messed up, in it.
Yeah,
like it really. Like Xander Clark is a more than capable goalkeeper at SPFL level.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just because he's been outshadowed by, as you rightly say, like just one of like our most famous sons.
I mean, he's my favourite player of all time.
Yeah, he's up there.
And it is just like, listen, Xander's been more than a capable backup keeper. As you say, oh my God, where would we be without him?
To think.
Especially that initial run where he kept like he kept way more clean sheets than Gordon did in that initial run.
It looked as though we'd actually upgraded.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, we were conceding goals plenty.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, and this is with the caveat that Craig Gordon is my favourite player of all time in football. There is no other person I love more than Craig Gordon. I do slightly worry there'll be a bedding in process where I have seen his interview. I can't remember. I feel bad. I think it was with the Hearts Standard. It might have been with someone else where Gordon confirmed.
Well, I think it was. Was it Joel's?
Yeah, I think it was with Joel. Where Gordon just confirmed that he was like, oh yeah, in training last week, somebody hit a shot towards me and I just naturally stuck out my leg. And everyone else kind of went, but I just didn't think anything of it, saved it, and we just moved on. So thankfully, he's not got that in his head where he's kind of like, oh God, can I use my leg and all that patter? But he was, as he said when they were confirming their FIFA ratings, he's no the quickest at the best of times. He's 40 in 2 months from now. We need a long-term strategy for what happens when he isn't at the level anymore. But you're so right. Where this moment, it's not a foul. Can I just say, it's not a foul?
I think we're lucky to get away with that.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's mental, and Clark's done that a few times. Where it's that thing that do you remember? Paisley used to do it, and Colaccini used to do it. They're just my two reference points for when I was wee that I remember it. Where they'd be like shielding the ball, and then they'd feel the slightest touch and go down and grab the ball. So the ref either has to send them off or just give away a foul that means nothing. And the ref will always give the foul because it's like, I'm not going to send... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just always think of Paisley and Colaccini doing that all the time. Just like, under a bit of pressure, 10 minutes left.
So hold on. So what are you saying, that Xander Clark does that as well?
Clark does that. So many times where he's like, I've felt a slight bit of contact. If I go down, the ref probably got to go, all right, well, the keeper's been fouled, so therefore I'm going to give it.
They always back the goalkeeper.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we do. Clark's just like, I've missed it. I've fucked up and missed this ball. Yeah. Oh, he was near me. I'll just go down. And fair, but listen, it's a skill, part of the dark arts. I'm not against it, but it makes me terrified every time he does it that the ref will go, nope, that was totally fine, and we've conceded.
Fully. It's like he just is relying on the incompetency of Scottish referees, that he just thinks, I should get away with this.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what would happen down south, but then looking at the weekend's events,
it would be a lot.
So let's move on.
Be somewhat.
On 58 minutes, Hearts should take the lead, but failed to do so. Alan Forrest finds Toby Civic on the outside. Civic sends a wicked delivery into the box, up from right back, into a really lovely area, just that nobody's there, before it's recovered by Stephen Kingsley on the other flank. The left back centres. Vargas should connect the cross, but doesn't. I want him to score so badly. But Alan Forrest at the back post does, but diverts it for a goal kick. I spoke about Lawrence Shanklin's need for a goal. Kenneth Vargas is arguably even greater. Like
I said it's happening in the Derby. I think I've jinxed him because 3 weeks ago I said his first goal will be in the Derby. So he's been presented with all these opportunities and he's been like, Daniel said it's in the Derby. I can't score before then.
I'm gonna have a look and see what price he is.
That's fine because I have a point to make as you do that.
Go for it.
I criticised Naismith very much 2 weeks ago for his game management and how I felt it was poor. the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of games even, never mind the last couple of weeks, he's got that right up me and shut me up, because on Tuesday night, his subs changed the game, and even more so, I felt, the subs totally changed the game against Ross County. Denham and O'Fire go off. I totally have sympathy with O'Fire because he's a centre-half who sometimes plays right back, and he was asked to play right wing back and push us forward. He wasn't especially great at it. You look very confused about prices. What's happening?
Oh, I can't find anything on Sky.
Shocking. What an embarrassment.
365. Carry on.
But, again, you mentioned the Maroon report. They had two really great graphs at halftime and at full-time showing average placement of the players. And O'Fire was basically in that first half, his average position was just inside our half. And it's like, for the way that system was, it's not amazing. Naismith clearly wants them to be pushed up. Kingsley was much higher. Then, at full-time, you see Alan Forrest's average position, and it was in their 18-yard box. And I just felt that Lowry and Forrest totally changed the game. Forrest came on about 30 seconds later. We just had a flurry of chances. We had 4 corners in a row. He put in 2 great balls. And it was just, I know we'll get to what he did later on, but
he was right in the heart of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, it just feels like suddenly Aberdeen game, Killie game, and now this game, there's now a pattern that started. It's not just, I did all right when he came on against Aberdeen. That's quite good. It's now like, no, that's several games now on the bounce where Alan Forrest has been one of our best players.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I don't know if that's because he's got a point to prove, if he realises that there's an opportunity for him to really nail down a first-team place. I don't know if he looks at the new arrivals and thinks, I need to keep up with Kenneth Vargas or even Yutaro Oda that came in January or whoever. I've just gone on there. I found it on 365.
Yep.
Kenneth Vargas, anytime, is 3-1. First or last goal scorer is 9-1.
That's no bad.
Please gamble responsibly. You heard it from us. But yes, you are right. Alan Forrest sends a wicked drive wide from a tight angle a couple minutes later. On 65 minutes, with the game still goalless, Ross County were looking for a spot kick as James Brown goes down, but it would have been harsh on Hearts and Alex Lowry in particular. I don't think there was a lot in it. And James Brown would try his luck from outside the area, but it fizzed just wide of Xander Clark's right-hand post. However, thankfully, 69 minutes. You mentioned the two of them there. Hearts would take the lead. Stephen Kingsley receives from Alex Lowry on the left-hand side after a lovely George Grant pass. The left back gives it back to the Rangers loanee, who dinks a floated ball into the area. Alan Forrest sends a looping header into the far corner. The substitutes combine to put Hearts ahead in the Highlands. Happy days.
How are you going to concede to a guy who hails from the family with no necks? Like, how is this happening?
That's exactly how he generated the power, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest, as it happened, I thought he was offside. So I was really worried. I was like, oh God. And then they show the replay and it didn't clear it up at all. I was like, I still think he's offside. I'm not sure. But then you see it back slowed down and he is on. Funnily enough, it's former Hearts player Connor Randall playing him onside. Thanks, Connor. It's much appreciated, mate. It's a great ball. Lowry notices that the county defence all take a step up, so he just lofts it over them. Forrest's run is great. It allows him to be basically completely unmarked and he can just put it wherever he wants. It's actually a really good header. He doesn't
header.
A lot of people, especially wingers, they kind of just go, as long as I get behind it and put it on target, I'll be fine. But he stops and waits and goes, right, I'm putting this back across. He doesn't allow it to continue on the trajectory it's going. He puts it back across the keeper. So as a result, the keeper's flat-footed and doesn't know where it's going. Really tough for him. As I say, he's been great. The few games he's played this season, he's been really good in them. Very happy for him. And just, I really hope it is the start of something. I hope we're not here at the end of the season or even in like February going, oh, mind that 3-game run where Alan Forrest was all right and then he's done nothing since. I really hope it is the start of, right, you can kick on. And that I will say, because there's an article that came out today, I think, or yesterday, where it was like Alan Forrest set for a more starting
Prominent
role.
role.
Yeah. I'm not saying that now means he has to start in the team, and therefore, if he's not good enough and all that patter.
That was going to be my question. Do you believe that his spot is now his spot in the team to lose? No.
Well, maybe right now, because we don't, like, Oda and Tagoa are both out, and Mackay. Yeah. So all three other players. So maybe, for example, I don't think Naismith will play the formation we did against Ross County against Hibs. I think he'll go back to the
4-2-3-1.
Yeah. So therefore, you might go, oh, well, yeah, Forrest does have to start on the right or the left because we only have Vargas there.
Yeah.
But generally,
I think he'll start on the left at the weekend. If that's what,
I'd agree. I don't think that now has to be the hard and fast rule. I just hope that it means that whenever he plays, whether it be he starts in the Derby or gets 5 minutes at the end, he just has an impact because he's shown us in the last few games he can do it.
Yeah, definitely. Look, in terms of County's response, James Brown would go searching for yet another penalty. Ben Purrington at left back blazed over from a tight angle after his cross was initially dealt with. Jack Baldwin's headers tipped over the bar from Clark, who was again under pressure from Simon Murray on 77 minutes. But Hearts had the chance to ultimately seal the deal on 88. Lovely ball from Liam Boyce off the bench. Sets Alex Lowry through, but he cuts inside and sends a left-footed effort towards goal, but Laidlaw gets down to his right-hand side and tips it wide. And thankfully, like I say, the final chance came to Ross County. Jack Baldwin heads a county free kick towards the back post. Eamon Brophy hits it into the ground, but it goes up and over the bar. And thankfully, Hearts hold on for 3 points. I deserve 3 points.
Definitely, I thought we were just good. I think I said on Twitter that I just felt it was a very professional performance. In the first half, we had everything except the final ball. And in the second half, we had one chance where we got the final ball right. I never felt worried that we concede, apart from in those final few minutes where just as a football fan, you're like, oh God, we're going to fuck it. Like,
it's the most dangerous scoreline ever.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, I'll mention it now because that now means that officially, as of this week, we have the best defence in the league.
Which is wild.
It's crazy. 7 games played and we've conceded 3 goals. 7 games played and Celtic have conceded 4. So we're better by 1. And just, we've barely had our starting fullbacks. In my opinion, we've been missing the best defender from last season, Alex Cochrane, basically all season thus far. And with all the patter being made about Kai Rolls and how it's not working and all that, he has been a consistent part of a defence that now is the best defence in the league. A part of that, I think, is just the general system that we've got, and it is actually hard for us to be broken down if we don't make stupid mistakes. But secondly, it is a testament to how incredible a signing Frankie Kent's been. For me, is far and away player of the season so far. Yeah, I think he is. I think Neuenhof's coming close to him in recent weeks, but I just think that, like, every Hearts fan was terrified that Halkett still isn't back and that we'll have to go the first few months without him.
And there were some of our fans that were dismissive of the signing of Frankie.
Yeah, exactly.
They hadn't even seen him kick a ball. So
totally. And he's come in and just been another Craig Halkett, which is exactly what we needed. And just, I'm so chuffed for him and I hope he just continues it on.
I'm just looking at the table there. So obviously, like you say, the best defensive record. Still only scored 5 goals in the 7 games.
Second worst in the league.
But like that, the 3 goals, our 3 defeats have all been by a sole goal. Like, how infuriating must that actually be?
And 2 of them are completely idiotic mistakes from us.
Yeah.
Dundee and St Mirren.
And we've got Blair Spittle to thank that Celtic have obviously just tiny wee bit lost.
I understand people where it's like, look, this is actually a sign that it's working and that we just need it to click in the final third.
Yeah. I do believe that. I do believe that. I don't know if that's because we've not got a settled 11 from midfield to attack,
I think it was confirmed that Naismith hasn't been able to field the same forward line in a single game this season.
There's absolutely no surprise then that we've not been able to kind of find that correlation between that reasoning and our lack of offensive prowess so far. But hopefully those can be rectified. And hopefully it can be rectified at the weekend in the Edinburgh Derby. Oh, I hate Derby week.
Same.
I fucking hate it so much
Same.
because there's so many thoughts go through your head.
Especially because, right, we've just spent, what, best parts of 3/4 of an hour speaking about how positive the weekend was, how we're doing well, back-to-back
How do we go with this?
wins, and that it might just be a couple of pieces away from clicking. If we get beat on Saturday, it'll be back.
Nothing.
It'll be back to, right, we need to get rid of Naismith immediately. We need to do all
Absolutely
these big
spot on.
changes and all that part. I don't know what's good. Listen, I think that at the very least, I think Hibs have a very dangerous forward line.
Yes.
I
But
do, however, also think they have an incredibly weak defence.
yeah.
But I don't know. However, though, they have an incredibly weak defence, but they're coming up against the team that haven't. Everybody except St Johnstone has scored more goals than.
Wow. What a thought.
Yeah, we're 11th in the league table if it was on goals scored. And we've only scored one more than St Johnstone.
Jesus. And I think they're stinking as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. Give me your team and a score prediction.
Right.
Because we're both agreed that it'll go back to a 4-back.
Yeah, I think
back 4, I should say. So what are you thinking?
Michael McGovern in goals. No. Xander Clark, Stephen Kingsley, Kai Rolls, Frankie Kent, Toby Sibic.
You think he will Civic right back?
Yes.
Over O'Fallon. Okay.
Yes. Neuenhoff and Devlin as a 2.
Devlin fit?
Yeah, according to Naismith, he's fit for the Derby.
Okay.
Forrest on the left, Vargas on the right, Grant behind Shankland. If
go for as well.
Naismith put Boyce in, I'd have no complaints. I'd be totally fine with that.
Yep, second that.
I'm going to go for my prediction. 1-1.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. I actually knew it.
I think we'll score first.
Oh, that makes it worse.
Get pegged back, but then not concede again.
Worse.
And this is before one team wins 4-0. It's a complete whitewash for the other side. But I think it's going to be... I think it's going to be one of the derbies. I know that neutrals say all Edinburgh derbies are like this, but I think it's going to be one of the derbies. It's really stop-starty. It's 2 managers who are still feeling out their squads. It's Nick Montgomery's debut in the fixture. I don't know if he'll just continue to do what they've been doing, where he just kind of throws them out and goes, right, high intensity, high press, keep the ball out wide and cross in, which, if Hibs fans are listening to this, I apologise if that isn't what you're doing. But from what I've seen in terms of highlights and speaking to my Hibs fan mates, that seems to be their style just now. Listen, we know that Boyle's good. We know that Eli Yuan can either be amazing or terrible.
Get hot or shit.
Yeah, and to be honest, for me, the biggest worry is that Vente, I think he's been a very good signing. I saw a thing where it was like, he's had like 5 shots that have went on target and scored 4 of them or something. Like,
I think it was 5 goals in as many of his last 5 shots.
When he shoots, he doesn't really miss. Apparently, he doesn't take a lot of shots in games. But as a result, when he does take them, he scores.
Christian Doidge is amongst the goals. Adam Fondra as well. Like, oh no.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Listen, they've got a good forward line. The hope is that either Hanlon or Bashiri plays and Shankland.
Ideally both.
Yeah, ideally, but that would be the dream, but it won't be. I think it'll. No. I think
Fish will play.
I think their back line will be Fish and Hanlon as a 2 with Stevenson and Miller.
Oh, don't mind that.
It's a back 4. I think Miller's been really good.
Give me that left side all day. Hanlon and Stevenson, yes, please.
I take that. I've not actually been paying attention to their team sheet. I'm not sure if Stevenson's been playing regularly for them. I'm not even aware. I
can tell you. I'll have a look and see who started the weekend.
Or is that Timber play? Is that his name?
It was Stevenson.
Was it? Right, okay. Yeah. Well...
And then Abita replaced him on 68 minutes.
Sorry,
62 minutes.
That's who I meant. No, Timber plays for fucking Arsenal. Yeah, they've just signed Julian Timber. It's Abita. It's who I meant. They might start Abita because he's very fast. And they might just want to have overlapping. I don't know. Miller seems to have been overlapping a lot in recent times. That's another reason I'd play Civic at right back, because I feel like he's quick enough to catch
to deal with Yuan or
whoever it is. But on the flip side, I understand people on Twitter saying the last time we played Civic at right back in the Derby, he gave away a penalty in the semi-final, and it was terrifying.
Oh Jesus, remember that?
Time.
Oh my goodness!
So
that was a different Toby Civic. That was
a different Toby Civic. But yeah, I'm dreading it because I always dread derbies, even though I know that history shows me that I shouldn't. But I do.
I don't dread them as much at Tynecastle.
I just dread them all the same.
It's at Easter Road where my arse just goes. Yeah, I do not like it.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm going 1-1. What are you going for?
I'm going to say we'll win.
Okay. By what score?
See, there's a part of me, right, that thinks we can't score 2 goals, but equally by the same score, like, will we keep a clean sheet against that forward line?
Yeah.
1-0.
Oh, I couldn't deal. If we score early and then we have to get through the rest of that, I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, okay.
No, I get it though.
If I say 2-1, that doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't. It's the exact same thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. 1-0 Vargas. There, I said it.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Stick your money on that. Don't actually stick your money on that.
Don't do anything irresponsible based on this podcast.
Yeah, don't do that. We don't give out tips. Right. Quiz time.
Here we go.
Before we can go back to stressing about the derby. Obviously, this will be out, so our stress is just continuing and continuing throughout the week. Hopefully, this has calmed you down up until now. If we're now talking about the stress and the quiz, then we're really sorry.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly.
Right. What have we got? We have potentially 2 multiple choices if you can't name the correct answer in the first one. I've got a multiple choices like a backup.
Right.
Then I've got a true or false and the who am I.
Right.
Is that right?
Cool. Yeah.
Right. Question number 1. Who was the Hearts manager the last time that Rangers lost a Scottish Premiership match at Ibrox to a side that wasn't Celtic?
Oh, so just the last time they lost at home. Not in an old firm
in the league. I could potentially make this your multiple choice.
I think I know when it was.
Okay.
Is the answer Daniel Stendhal?
Oh, McIver.
Was it Hamilton?
It was the 1-0 defeat to Hamilton.
Yeah, because the only reason
it was at our detriment.
Yeah, it's one, because it was like, of fucking course they've won at Ibrox when we need them to get beat. And 2 is that video of Neil Lennon going, Hamilton? Yeah. They can't believe it, yeah.
And they were all set to sack Gerrard before what happened.
Yeah. So that was the only reason. Good. Because in my head, I was like, I can't think of another time they've lost at home that wasn't in an old firm. I'll take that.
That's a crazy stat.
I know, it's mental.
It's that long.
It's mental. And yet, folks still want us to go and just play what we normally do at Ibrox.
Baffling. No matter. Right, next question. We spoke about it earlier, actually, on the podcast. In which season did Hearts last win back-to-back away matches in 2 competitions?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Was it A, 2022-23, B, 2021-22, C, 2020-21, or D, 2018-19?
See, I think the answer for the league is December 21. I swear we beat Livingston and Sunday back-to-back away from home. I think it was Dundee. I think we went to Dens, and it was like, how have we done this? But you specifically said...
do this.
Yeah, like, what's going on? But you said in 2 competitions. So now I'm like, what? But I'll be annoyed at I'll be more annoyed if I don't get it right based on this. So I'm going 21-22, whatever that season was. I'm off by a fucking year.
Yes, you are. As last season, Daniel McIver, we won away at Motherwell in the Scottish Premiership and Riga in the Europa Conference League.
I'll be honest, I didn't once factor in European.
Passed you by. It passed me by as well, because I thought it was more impressive than that. I messaged Heart Stats. It was like, Scott, when was the last time you won back-to-back away matches? And it was like last season we beat Riga and Motherwell, and it was just like, oh my god,
yeah, I completely forgot. But we've had this entire podcast about Alan Forrest. That was that week where Alan Forrest was amazing.
looked like Ronaldinho.
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
Right. So you're 1 from 2. Listen, you did well at the start. That was, and again, I wouldn't have got that second one. I thought it was more long ago than that. Question number 3, McIver. Question I think you'll like. Oh. Paul Hanlon and Lewis Stevenson could both break the record for the most Edinburgh derbies lost, provided that they played on Saturday and Hearts emerged victorious. But how many derbies have the Hibs stalwarts been defeated in?
Together, or do you mean when they've both played together? So, like, for example, Stevenson, I imagine, has played more Edinburgh derbies than Hanlon. Do you mean that?
I think both have lost the same amount.
All right, okay, that's fair.
Yes, they have.
Right, that's fair. Right, Stevenson's been playing there for like 17 years.
Thank you to Heart Stats for the question.
Stevenson's been playing there for like 17 years. Or something stupid like that.
Do you want me to give you how many derbies they've played in to try? I'll try and make it easier for you. So Saturday will be Lewis Stevenson's 50th derby if he plays. Paul Hanlon has played 41 so far.
Right, that didn't actually do much for me because my guess was going to be that Stevenson's played in about 46 derbies. So I kind of had it anyway. Right. Do you say exactly 50 he's played?
So Saturday will be his 50th.
Saturday will be, so he's played 49. Yeah. Right. On average, because in that time, he played when we just went through that run of beating them all the time. But then he also played in that run in the late 2010s where we'd never won. And we kept getting, and there was a lot of draws. I would estimate they have lost, Stevenson's played 49. I think they'll have lost 24 derbies.
I was going to give you within 1-2, but you've actually overshot it.
Oh, fuck.
They're both on the verge of losing their 20th. They've lost 19 each. I thought it was more than that, I'll be honest.
That's mental. That's not a lot at all.
If you listen to the record, so Lewis Stevenson has won 14, drawn 16, lost 19.
That's funnier.
Paul Hanlon has won 11, drawn 11, and lost 19.
So yeah, it's actually...
It's like, losing records is just not as impressive as we both thought.
But additionally, you can flip it and say, out of 49 derbies, Lewis Stevenson has only won 14 of them.
Yes.
That's mental. That's insane. That is unbelievable. Oh God, I didn't realise though it's his 50th. They'll do something about that. They'll be like, oh, it's his 50th. Come on, we can't lose his 50th derby. That longevity though is. I was about to say it doesn't sound that impressive, but they could become the players who have lost the most amount of derbies ever. So it is. That'll be getting put on the fucking dressing room. What are you doing?
We're not at that stage yet. That's fine. They don't know who we are just yet.
Yeah, true.
Question number 4. You're true or false? True or false? Liam Boyce averages a goal contribution every game and a half in a Hearts shirt.
What does that translate to?
In terms of minutes.
135 minutes.
Yes. I
think it's false. Because I think it's like 138 or 137 or something.
False, but only by a few minutes. Liam Boyce.
Wait! My official guess is 137 minutes. I saw the heart stat thing,
but my heart stats.
I couldn't properly remember it, but I'll take that.
Well, exactly. I didn't want to give you like the amount of goals or like the starts and all that. So yeah, Boyce, 36 goals, 17 assists in 83 starts and 100 appearances in total, given that he's made 17 substitute appearances. So 2 out of 4, McIver. Not bad.
I'll take it.
You've done well.
Yeah. Take
You've
that.
done well. And I say that because this Who Am I is absolutely stinky.
Great.
So hope you have fun.
Here we go.
You ready?
Yep.
Hearts were the second of 6 teams that I played for in my professional career, making just 8 appearances for the Jambos. I replaced a member of a previous Hibernian management team to make my debut in an away victory, but warmed the bench for most of my time in Edinburgh. I played in Brazil, France, Norway, and Bulgaria, and retired a decade ago. I claim to have enjoyed my time in Edinburgh, despite the weather being no good, and having been signed by Vladimir Romanov and not one of the Hearts managers during my stay. Who am I?
Telling you now, I'm not getting it.
I shall get this man's Wikipedia up. If you get this, I will be astonished.
This isn't a question, but I just didn't understand the second clue. What do you mean? The thing about replacing
I replaced a member of a previous Hibernian management team to make my debut.
Right. So what you mean by that is he came on as a sub for someone who would go on to be a part of a Hibs management team. Right.
Yes.
That means it was Thingy, Lee Johnson's assistant.
Right.
Whose name I can't remember. So that roughly gives me a time zone. So, right.
I mean, I'd like to think that Romanov's tenure would also give you.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, but that's like 7 years.
Yeah, fair point.
Whereas this is like 2. I can't even mind that guy's name now. It's in my head. Thankfully, it's not him who it is, but at least I can picture his face.
I see he was going to get the Inverness job before Big Dunk got it.
Was he?
Yeah, he was in the running for it.
What's his name again?
Jamie McAllister.
Jamie McAllister, yeah. I could think of his face, but I couldn't mind his name. Right.
So pleased that Big Dunk got that, though, because that is just tremendous for the
That's great.
Oh, did you see with the fans on Saturday at Gayfield? Brilliant.
Amazing. Right. What am I don't really need to ask because there's no point in the year because you've said Romanoff era and I've got it down to McAllister. I can roughly get that's like 2005 to 7.
Okay, I swear to God, roughly. If you get this, I'll be really impressed.
Right. So he's played in Brazil, France, Norway, Bulgaria, and here. He's played for 6 clubs. We were his second. So we got him for somebody, or he came as a free agent. But he barely played, came on. Oh, I was about to say came on the Derby. That's not what you said. You just said he made his debut for McAllister, who went on to be
in an away victory as well.
I know. What? Right. What nationality was this man?
This man was and is
Brazilian. Yeah, I was about to say, like, is he alive?
Yes.
Brazilian.
Yes.
Right, we've got some problems. Like
somebody actually suggested him to me. You remember when we were talking about like the lack of South Americans?
Yeah.
And we mentioned Igor Rossi. And somebody fired this name in, and I was like, "That is a brilliant Who Am I?" So
well, this is the thing. Igor Rossi might end up being the guest because I don't know any other fucking Brazilian players. Right, Brazilian played. Also, I think McAllister was like a midfielder. Okay. Is it a like for like sub that I'm really honing in on this fucking thing. Right. I've got the years roughly.
Okay.
I've got that he's Brazilian. I'm gonna guess he's a midfielder because if he's not, I'm fucked.
Okay.
Did we have like? I'm now just trying to think of Brazilians for this time. Did stop singing the Alan Forrest song at me. This is not fair. Did somebody like Joe never played for us? I'm trying to think of Brazilian players for around this rough time.
Giuliano and Giovanni came up to Gorgie.
What's another question? Because I don't think there's any point in asking the clubs because I just won't know who he played for. Because I'm rubbish with that stuff, especially around this time era where I just didn't pay attention to anyone except Hearts.
For what it's worth, I've heard of one of his clubs.
Okay, right. We're definitely not doing that then.
One of his clubs and us.
Okay, yeah.
Should specify that.
I was about to say, is the one club us? Right. So maybe like, what was his surname? Um,
like they ask you for initials. And
yeah,
no, I will not give you those either.
no. I can't even think of a second question to ask because your second clue kind of gives me the time period, which is what I was going to go for. I don't know of any other Brazilians that played for us apart from Igor Rossi, especially at this time. I have no one. I can think of like Portuguese, and
I don't
that's it.
remember this. I don't remember this guy at all.
I'm not even going to use my second question. I'm just going to say Joe and just see, is it Joe? Did Joe play for us before he played for Man City?
No.
I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked.
McIver, this man was a Brazilian midfielder
He was a
called,
midfielder.
yes, very good, called Samuel Camazola.
Absolutely no
No,
idea.
don't remember him
Imagine
either.
if I'd got that.
That's what I'm saying. I would have been astonished, genuinely astonished. In terms of the clues, so yeah, Camazola joined the Scottish Premier League club Hearts on a season-long loan deal in August 2005. He made his debut on the 17th of September in a 1-0 away win against Inverness, coming on as a substitute for Jamie McAllister. However, Camazola failed to find a stable place in the regular lineup, being featured mostly as a substitute, playing only 8 league matches. He played for Juventud, who we signed him on loan from, Châteauroux, who's the only other team that I'd heard of, considering they play in France, Sandefjord Fotball of Norway,
Right.
Esportivo of his native Brazil, and Cherno Mor, who are a Bulgarian team based in the city of Varna.
What an incredible career.
An unbelievable career, and retired in 2013.
Well, did you get that? If you did, you've got too much time on your hands and need to reevaluate your decisions. But we hope that you enjoyed this. By the way, can I just say, we've had a couple of tweets aimed at us and YouTube comments being like, "This is ridiculous. You don't know who these players are." Folk need to accept now that they're middle-aged and this happened when they were in the age that we are now, and we were. Well, I was 7, nearly 8 when he joined us. Right? I'm not paying attention to that. Didn't give us any shite for that.
It comes to us all. Exactly. Get obvious.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, we really hope you did enjoy the episode. And if you did, please continue listening despite being personally insulted by us. If you did enjoy it, leave us a positive rating on whatever platform you listen to. If you've been watching us on YouTube and me struggling to try and remember this guy's name, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We're at Perth to Paisley on all forms of social media. perthtopaisley@gmail.com if you want to fire us more insanely hard who am I's, will happily receive them, and I'll do it next week. To Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
They can find me appreciating love of Yoga Benito and Samuel Camazola at Adam T. Kendo, where I'll be live streaming me watching the best bits of Lee Johnson's reign as Hibernian manager. Yourself, McIver.
I am at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to discuss all the fallout from the Derby, where we've hopefully won. Anything else that happens in between. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Come on out!